caught doing one of the highest speeds ever recorded on South Australian roads.
Hi guys, welcome back to the vlog. This is Dan here with you. I was actually curious about the road accident fatalities in India as well as in Australia, so I thought of comparing them both together. I was actually pretty startled by some of the things that I found, so I thought I'll share it with you guys here. So as per the annual report on road accidents in India published by MoRTH, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, which states that the total number of deaths caused by accidents on road was 168,000. And almost immediately we face the first problem, which is that this data which the government has provided is wrong and it's unusable. Now I did not say this. WHO states it. WHO states that India's official data on road traffic fatalities as unusable because of quality issues. WHO also clearly explains as to why they think India's data collection technique is useless. Because when you compare it with countries like Australia, US and Japan, they collect their data from multiple sources like hospitals, ambulance services, forensic investigation of crash sites and insurance providers. Whereas in India we only depend on the police department to get the data, and we know about them. They are completely inefficient, corrupt and useless. An IIT study has actually highlighted all the flaws in our data collection techniques. Now we will know if a death has occurred or not only if a police files the FIR. If the police does not file an FIR, we will never get that death data report. Similarly, if a victim's family decides not to file an FIR because they do not want to deal with the hassle of going to court or meeting the police, then even in this case we will not get the death report. So there are many instances like this where we miss out on the death count. The IIT study also reported that most cases are attributed to human error, and this means that factors such as vehicular and infrastructural problems are not included. The cause of the crash has to be recorded as the fault of a road user as per the Indian Penal Code and Motor Vehicle Act 1988, ignoring all other factors. On the shortcomings of the data reporting mechanism in India, the MoRTH report itself pointed out that if a road accident victim dies in a hospital after 30 days of the accident, it is not reported as a road traffic fatality. So now, due to all these shortcomings, the IIT study itself reveals that the road fatalities could be underreported by at least 50%. So the actual road fatalities should be around 252,737 or more. Now, despite the flaw in the government's report, I highly encourage everyone to go through the report just for reference, as there are so many useful charts and tables. For example, you can see the fatalities and injuries by road category, like national highways, state highways and also rural roads. You can also see states which have the most fatalities. The top two worst states are Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. They also have a road user category wise road accident and deaths on NH in 2022 and also 2021, so it's a very useful report. You can see the table where accidents occur to pedestrians or those who are riding bicycles or two-wheelers or auto rickshaws, cars, trucks and buses. So clearly there is a lot of useful information on that report as well. So I leave link of the report in the description below, so please have a read guys. So the road deaths recorded in India in the year 2022 was 252,737, and if you divide that by 12 you will get 21,061 deaths per month, and if you divide this by 28 days you will get the per day, which is 752 deaths per day, and if you multiply this by 2 you will get 1,504 deaths for every 2 days. Now if you come to Australia, the total number of deaths is 1,194. It's not for 2 days, it's not even per month, it's actually 1,194 deaths per year. The whole year, that's right guys, the whole year in Australia the total number of deaths in 2022 was just 1,194. That's just astounding. Now some of you might be wondering, India's population is in billions while Australia's population is just in few millions. So obviously the higher death rates for India is justified because of this. Now if you take India's population in 2022, it was 1.41 billion while that of Australia's was 26 million. Now if you divide India's population with Australia's population, you will find out that India's population is just 54 times higher than that of Australia's. Whereas if you take the accidental deaths between India and Australia, it is 252,737 for India and 1,194 for Australia. Now if you divide India's road fatalities with that of Australia's, you will find out that it is a staggering 211 times higher. So definitely the deaths are not proportional to the population of India. It's way higher, and this is what we should be concerned about. So what are the reasons for higher road fatalities in India? Well, the first reason is that we are a very poor country with a huge population. The infrastructure growth just cannot keep up with this huge population. Secondly, 47% of vehicles on our roads are motorbikes, which means bikes are more unsafe than cars since you don't get any kind of structural protection from motorbikes. Thirdly, poor road conditions and lack of safety signs and signals. Fourth, we have extreme corruption which affects the administration and road quality. For example, right from the poor quality of roads which are laid by the contractors to the corrupt police who just let the accused scot-free. Then the fifth point is that there's lack of strict punishment nor heavy fines. And finally, easy issuance of license to the public. Within 2 to 3 weeks, you can easily get a full driver's license in India. So now let's come to the reasons for lower road fatalities in Australia. The first reason is that Australia is a very rich country with almost equal distribution of wealth among its citizens. Secondly, almost all vehicles on their roads are cars. They have very few motorbikes on the roads. And they have excellent road infrastructure where there are road signs and warnings every few meters. You can watch that from my video itself where I'm riding my motorbike. Fourth, they have a very strict licensing issuance where you need at least 4 years minimum to get your full license. It starts from learners, then you have 2 provisional licenses which are P1 and P2, and finally you get the full license. But here in Australia you can start your license process from the age of 16 itself, but in India I think you can do it only at the age of 18. The most important point is that if you ever break their law or get into an accident, the punishment is really severe, and it's even more severe for drunk driving and speeding. There is jail times and heavy fines involved. Now if someone says that they can't afford the heavy fines, the government actually has an installment option for these fines where you can take any number of months or years to pay them off. So definitely you cannot give an excuse that you can't afford to pay the fines. And finally, there's no partiality between rich and poor. Punishment is same for both. Just to show you how serious Australia is towards overspeeding drivers, just watch this news report.
Adelaide Superhoon, the first to be jailed under extreme speeding laws, has now had his pride and joy destroyed. Police hoping what you're about to see will deter reckless drivers as our road toll continues to spiral.
Caught doing one of the highest speeds ever recorded on South Australian roads. Now the owner of this metal missile is facing the crushing consequence. The Holden Commodore destroyed today. Its driver nabbed travelling 253 kilometres an hour on the north-south motorway in January, only stopping when his gearbox blew up. The driver, a 20-year-old Terrell Power Williams on his L plates at the time, labelled by a magistrate as the most dangerous person in the state. He was sentenced last month to a year and 4 months behind bars under extreme speeding laws.
Do you guys understand the difference between India and Australia's administration? How they handle such reckless drivers? This driver not only was he jailed for 1.5 years nearly, his highly modified vehicle was also destroyed. They just don't care. When it comes to rule of law, they just have black or white. There's no grey area in between here in Australia. They'll punish you badly. Now, despite the high death count, which the Indian government acknowledges themselves, very little or nothing have been done with regards to improving road safety for our citizens. In fact, the government is accusing the citizens for not driving safely on the roads and disobeying laws. Guess the government taxes 7,000 crores on road tax just to blame its people. In contrast, the Australian government, on the other hand, have set an ambitious goal of attaining Vision Zero, which is nothing but zero deaths and serious injuries by 2050. In conclusion, what we can infer from this is that the Indian road users are only good enough to pay high taxes to the government. They should not expect any safety on the road. The Indian government has also not taken any steps to collate accidental data from the different sources mentioned earlier. So much for Digital India initiative, I suppose. So my advice to all Indian road users, if you want to stay safe, upgrade yourself from a bike to a car immediately. Also consider taking your life insurance. Finally, if you have the money, follow the footsteps of our HNIs and go to safer countries like Australia, US or Canada to settle down. I have left links to all the reports and news articles in the description below so you guys can read it. If you have any doubts or if I missed anything in this vlog, please do mention it in the comment section below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you guys found something valuable and informative from this vlog. If you did, please do hit the like button. Do consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't done already. And until next time, this is Stan signing out. Bye bye.